Hey, high performers, it's Brendan, and welcome to your first session of High Performance Academy. Congratulations for being here. I know the commitment and the discipline and the ambition that you have in your life to take your life to that next level. No matter where you're at in your life, emotionally, socially, financially, I know that you and I both understand that there's another level sometimes for us. No matter how successful you already are or how much struggle you've gone through the last couple of years, we all want our story to go like this. We all want that freedom to ascend to that next level. We all want to experience that vitality and that connection and that vibrancy, that enthusiasm that is a life of high performance. I define high performance as the ability to outperform standard norms over the long term. That means this is about you outperforming yourself. It's about you getting better and better and better and better. Improving, not just plateauing and not just having peak performance where, all of a sudden I teach you a few things and you're like, wow, I'm doing great. And then pow, I want to keep you ascending. That's why we're going to start today with talking about high performance, about how you're going to learn in this program, about the tools I'll be giving you and the high performance tools that you can use in your own life every single day, as well as talking about the arenas of our life where we need to reach for high performance. So with all of that, I just want to welcome you again to the program. I get the time and the commitment this is going to take for you to watch these videos, to listen to the MP3s, to do the journaling. But here's what I can say right off the bat before we get into any of the work. It's worth it. Dedicating your life to lifelong improvement is worth it. It's why I get to be here. It's why I've achieved so much of what my personal dreams were, from being a writer to a trainer, from the ability to work with people who are just in major transitions in their life to some folks who are at the top levels of their industries, their lives, their careers. And I can share with you in that process, everything I share with you, I personally do. And I share things with you even beyond what I personally do, just to jump into the science and say, hey, look, here's what other people have learned. I don't do this particular routine, but they've done this. And my job is to give you all of the strategies, the tools, and the resources it would take to go to that next level. Now, I know for many people watching this is maybe your first major online course or maybe your first major online program with me. So I want to, again, thank you for that trust. And I want to also encourage you to trust in this process. You might be in this place like, gosh, I hope this is worth it, and you're just frenetic, or you're coming from that place of scarcity or short-term thinking. And my job is to say, hey, high performance, this is not just my opinion. This is a science. It is a discipline. It has worked for other people, and it will work for you if you'll do the work. So let's begin with the straight-up commitment right now to get into the work, to do it, to trust the process, to try new things out. Because I know some of you are already majorly successful. So sometimes you're like, yeah, I already know that. But my job is to tell you, never do that. Never say, yeah, I already know that. Because sometimes common sense is not common practice. And that's why good people fail to become great people. There's just routines and habits, some ways of thinking and behaving that sometimes we all get away from. I know you're busy. You're stressed. There's overwhelm in life sometimes, uncertainty. There's demands from your family and your friends. There's things that you want to accomplish in your career. There's health issues that come up. There's times in our lives where we just wake up and we just don't feel like doing things. I know that's true for all of us. The difference for high performers is we learn to do and we learn how to be in those situations to overcome them more quickly so that we can have a greater amount of joy in the moment or motivation in the moment, and we have a little bit more of resilience or the ability to bounce back after life throws us a curveball or a challenge. Because maybe you're here because there's always a major transition in your life, and you're like, okay, I need a different level of thinking to go to the next level. Or maybe you have been at this level where you're really happy, but there's a restlessness, and you're like, maybe there's something more. Whatever brought you here today, I honor that. I truly respect that we're all from different walks. And my challenge in this course is to baseline everybody with this foundational understanding of high performance, are tools, the areas we'll be focusing on, no matter where you're coming from. And I'll tell you, as a trainer, it's always the challenging one. This first video, I sit and I obsess over getting these first couple videos right for you, because I got to speak to people from now over 50 countries watching this with you. I got to speak to people from, 20 years old to 78 years old. I got to speak to people who this isn't even their first language, So as a trainer, I'm up for the challenge. And I hope as a student, you are up for the challenge. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to bust out a journal. I want you to get some notes. I want you to find a place where you can be by yourself. Or if you're doing this course with a family member, that's cool, be with them. But get a journal, get ready to take notes. I'm going to jump right in. Let me give you an overview of this first week's training. The first thing I'm going to talk to you about is how to learn. I know that might sound kind of silly, but since we're an online learning course here anyway, and one of the key differentiators about high performers, one of the reasons they're able to outperform themselves on a consistent basis and others, is because they're better learners. They're able to absorb and apply more quickly, and because of that, they advance faster. I mean, think about it. The person in, let's say you're in a corporate environment. You've got 10 people sitting around. They're all pretty good. They're all vice presidents. They're all really great. They've already climbed up the ladder. Who's going to win? The person who learns the best. The person who has that high performance learning mentality that allows them to see and gain attention to the things that they need to put attention on and to apply and absorb it faster than everybody else. And so that's what I'm going to invite you to do here is let's start with the conversation about how to experience this course, but let me also share something with you. This is how to experience life. You want to get to high performance, you've got to be cool with these 5 rules. This is 5 rules for learning with me, but it's 5 rules to get ahead in all areas of your life, and it's necessary. Okay, so let's jump right into the first one. First rule, first component of high performance learning is to always honor the struggle. You have to see improving your life as a joyous game. It has to be something you approach with a positive outlook, a positive attitude, and not sometimes, all the time, right? If you're here right now and you're just in a negative mood, you know what? Pause it, go get your physical body, your mind right, get some food, take a walk, come back, approach learning in a positive state of mind, and everything advances. But also honor the struggle that this experience, yes, High Performance Academy for you, it's going to be sometimes confusing, sometimes frustrating, sometimes challenging. Sometimes I'll say things to you and you're like, geez, what a jerk, because I'll push you and I'll play and I'll cajole a little bit with us because we got a lot of work to do on our lives, right? So I want you to understand that there will be a struggle here. There will be challenge. Matter of fact, those who avoid struggle and challenge in their lives never leave the legacy they would wish for. Because a life of avoidance is not a life of freedom. It is not a life of true presence. It is not a life of self-determination. And so if there's areas of your life where you feel like you've just been avoiding them because you thought they'd bring on too much hardship, too much challenge, too much change too quickly, then I say maybe those are some areas for you right now. It'd be good to explore those again, to revisit those and say, have I just been too scared of the struggle and hardship? Because you know what, learning is hard. I remember, if you went to high school or college, there were some classes that were just hard. And some people approach that difficulty with resignation. I can't figure it out. I don't like it. Not for me. Other people, they honor the struggle. They go, oh, right, it's part of growing is to be uncomfortable, right? One of my famous high-performance clients and friends, Paula Abdul, she would always say, you have to learn to become comfortable with the uncomfortable. That's the next level of mastery, becoming comfortable with the uncomfortable. A lot of what I'm going to teach you at first, it's uncomfortable. You're just like, I've never done that before, or maybe that's hard, or maybe I've never looked at it that way, or maybe you'll say, I don't agree, and that's all okay. All I want you to do is honor this struggle, honor this process. And along with that, please trust in the process. You're not my first rodeo. This is not my first game. This is not my first online course. I'm blessed to have done dozens of online courses that have all made millions of dollars. I've been blessed to work at the top levels, from major Olympians to major entertainers to, extraordinary media moguls and billionaires, and from people who are just literally coming out of what they would call in their life rock bottom, the gutter, their own, whatever their metaphor is. They were just like, I was at the lowest low. So I've gotten to work with everybody. I've worked with people who were suicidal. I've worked with people with major addictions. I've worked with people who are going through divorce. I've worked with people who are abused. I've been blessed to work with an extraordinary range of people, from the positive aspects of life to some of the more negative ones. So all I can say is trust. There's a reason I'm teaching it this way, even if sometimes you're like, dude, just what do I need to eat? Some of you, the lack of patience that you might already be feeling, you might like, I don't know. Chill out. Trust in the process. When I first start working with a major athlete, they want immediate gains. And we have to say sometimes it's not going to be immediate. Because you know what? You spent decades building your life. You spent decades with your thoughts and your beliefs and your routines as you have of them now. And sometimes it's going to rub against those things to overcome them. You are the best of who you are right now. And people don't like to hear that sometimes, because they're like, no, man, my life sucks right now. I was better when I was a high school football star. And I'm like, yeah, but enduringly, you are the best of who you are right now. Your best thinking, your best attitudes, your best actions, your best relationships brought you to this very moment. Your best ability to deal with life's crap brought you to this moment. I trust in this moment. I trust I'm supposed to be right here with you right now. And I hope you feel that too. We're supposed to be doing this together. That whatever reason you signed up for this, it was right. You're in the right place with the right community, with the right mentor, learning the right things for where you are in your life. How do I know that? Because you had this intrigue and this impulse, this decision, this commitment to join a course that said, let's push you. Let's get you to another level. Let's expose you to what the world's most extraordinary human beings have learned about living an extraordinary life. Not just type A achievers, but people who are generally happy with their lives, fulfilled, satisfied, engaged, connected. This isn't just about me getting you to accomplish more. It's about helping you feel more connection with life. I always say, high performance feeling, the living aspect, like what does it feel like? It just feels like you have a greater amount of joy and confidence in almost everything that you're doing. And from that joy and confidence, you also sense, it comes from this sense that you're living into your full potential. You're living from that place that's your best and into your best. And so you have more joy at it. You have more confidence at it. And if you don't have as much joy and confidence in your life as you want to, you'll have it at the end of this program. I got a whole year with you. We got these 5 core weeks together, and some of that will feel like a struggle. Trust the process. By the end of that 5 weeks, you want more. You're like, but there's some other things I want to learn. That's why for every month after that, I'm going to be releasing new training with you, having more conversation with you. You'll be able to ask your questions with me. It's a journey. High performance is not a destination. And if you're like, I want to finish these 5 weeks and every area of my life is perfect, then your expectations probably have caused a lot of problems in your life. No, this high performance is a journey. It's a lifestyle. It's an everyday thing of who you are. I don't just show up this way and suddenly because of a video, I'm this annoying all the time. It's like, no, this is how I live. I have things that I do to make myself like this, where I'm enjoying this process. I hope you can tell I'm having some fun, where I'm confident about what I'm doing and where I've gained the necessary skills to excel at it and deliver for you. So please look at your life and just say, is there any areas of my life that I'm not willing to do the struggle? Because maybe that's slowing you down for that next level. Maybe in your health, you're like, I don't feel like going to the gym 3 times a week. I don't want to deal with that struggle. What a pain in the butt. Or maybe you're saying, My marriage isn't great, but I don't want to deal with the fights anymore. I've just resigned. Not willing to struggle through the difficult conversations with your family and your friends or your teams. Some people aren't willing to struggle in their business in those extra hours to make it go. Some people aren't willing to struggle to that next level of trust in other people. Building a team, delegating, that's scary for people. They don't want to go through the struggle of people skills, right? We all got stuff. And usually where we are avoiding the struggle in our life are our greatest growth areas. So I hope that as I teach this, you recognize I'm not just talking about our course and saying, let me challenge you, though I will. I'm saying maybe some of these things about high performance learning might help you in other areas of your life to identify some things you could work on. We'll talk about a lot of that as we go through other areas of your life to work on. Second rule of high performance learning is to judge any of my ideas, any of my strategies, any of my tools, any of the science, any of the work that we do in high performance, judge it after routine, not contemplation. What do I mean by that? A lot of people say, oh, well, I'll tell them an idea. Wow, that doesn't work for me. I'm like, how do you know it doesn't work for you? It doesn't work for me. I don't like that. It doesn't sound like it would work for me. I'm like, it doesn't sound like it works for you? What, you don't like my voice? Is it my tone, my melody, my pitch? They're like, no, it just doesn't seem like it would work for me. Why does it seem like it worked for me? Well, I've seen other friends, they tried it, didn't work for them. Okay, how many people did you see it not work for? 2. That's your data point? That's not good science. Well, I tried that. You tried that. When did you try that? Oh, I've tried everything. You've tried everything. Give me the list of things you've tried over the years with tracked results so that we can confirm whether those things really work for you. Well, no, I tried it. When? No, in 1989. I'm like, wait, okay, has anything changed in your life, your relationships, the world, or your industry since 1989? See, what people typically do when you give them a challenge, especially to go to the next level, they resist. They get defensive. Their ego flares up. They say, I've tried that or I've tried that. Or worse, it's not always ego. It's just like, it's an impulse. That won't work. And they don't even try. I don't want you to judge my ideas based off of whether or not you immediately connect with the ideas based on your past, your circumstances, your current reality, or what you think you know about the world. With due respect, a high performer doesn't do that. High performers are like little mini scientists. They approach their life as a test. So they're willing to test and try things that maybe they don't know whether it works or not. And that's what I want to encourage you to do. If I give you something to try, make it a routine, try it several times, several days or several weeks or several months. So I'll give you those cue points and those timing points. And just put it in a routine and then base it off of results. Never, ever, if you're trying to go to the next level and you hear an idea from someone who is at that next level and they share something with you, never discount it. Never discount it. A lot of people mess this up. And I can't tell you, especially our culture now, our youth culture, our younger generations, they're impulse decision makers. They judge so fast an idea without any research, without any intellectual discipline, without any actual habit, without any testing. They just go, I like it, I don't, and they're off. And you're like, sometimes uninformed intuition is ignorance. Like, if you have intuition of an expert and you've developed it, maybe your judgment can be a little faster. But a lot of people in their lives, one of the big struggles is they hear an idea and they say, it won't work for me. They read a women's health or a men's health magazine. That works for that skinny little brat, wouldn't work for me. And you're like, wait a second. How do you think the skinny little brat's telling you how she got skinny? She probably wasn't always that way. It doesn't work for her. She's got the good genetics. I don't. What? That's just the ignorance that pervades learning. And that's why so many people never strive to that next level, is because they've immediately discounted the advice from the next level. And I'll share this from a personal story. I'm very, very, very blessed to have had extraordinary mentors and peers in my life. I worked my butt off to get in their circles. I joined Kiwanis when I was, in my teenage years. I've spent most of my life learning from people who are 50 years or older than me, just learning and absorbing and applying. And their advice to me, I never just go throw it out. Their advice was hard-won. There's a lot of hard-won wisdom, research, and science that you're going to be learning throughout this program. Please don't judge it until you put it to a routine. And please, outside of my course, be thinking about, are there other areas of my life where I've heard a good idea, but I wasn't willing to apply it consistently to test it? Was it a diet? Was it a way to talk with my spouse or my wife? And don't judge it off of one try. That's not a routine. A routine means you do it several times. A routine means you're doing it consistently and developing it and getting better at it to see if it works or not. So please develop routines as we go throughout here, not impressions. And then you will advance in all areas of your life. Third rule, please, no short-term thinking. I don't want you to think of, well, I want my whole life to change by the next 5 weeks, as I shared with you. And by the way, if we radically transform your life in the next 5 weeks, awesome. Maybe these first 2 points are already game changers for you. I don't know. Everyone comes from a different walk of life. Maybe the foundational training that we have here in the members area, like the 5x50 formula or the 10 reasons most people don't accomplish their goals and dreams, maybe those have already shifted your life in a major way. I don't know. I would hope you were watching them, and I hope that you're going through the training, but I don't want you to think like one video is everything. We got a lot of time together these 5 weeks, and then the monthly training for a year. You're getting a lot of access to me through this process and my methodology, and then you have access to all this course for life. And I can tell you, having taught high performance now for over a decade, here's what I know without question, that high performers need to revisit training. You have to. It's like maybe we get you all lined up in the next couple months, but then you're going to be at another level. There's more obligations. There might be more responsibilities. There might be more fun. There might be more wealth. And over a period of the next year or two, it's like, at some point, we all get knocked off our game, right? We all have highs and lows. There's times we got to be like, oh, wait, I need to retool, revisit, retrain. So I know you'll come back. So please make sure you don't have too much short-term thinking. By the way, look at every problem we have literally in the world. There's short-term thinking. They're usually at the crux of that. When you fight with your spouse, you're in the short-term need of what you want at that moment versus the long-term thinking of the relationship. When we look at the global economy, when we think about the major crashes, there was a lot of short-term thinking there that was problematic. When we think about how we've treated the earth that we live on, there's a lot of short-term thinking as we decimate the forests, as we pollute the waters, as we feed people irresponsibly. There's a lot of short-term thinking that causes almost every major problem. I bet if you looked at the major problems you're having in your life or the major frustrations, there's been too much short-term thinking or short-term action. And if you could think a little longer term and act with habit over a little longer term, you'd improve. True? So if that's true, all I can do is encourage you to okay, let me take a bigger view of my life right now. Because maybe you came here, you're just like, dude, just tell me what to eat. And don't worry, we'll get to your high performance nutrition plan. No sweat. At some point, we'll cover that. But for now, I want you to maybe take a bigger picture. Look at your life right now. Let's start thinking about a bigger picture and a longer term approach to our lives, and we'll get better. For example, let me give you an example. Right now we're here because I never avoided these first 3 points. Let me give you an example. I was terrified of public speaking. I know it might be hard for you to think of that because I'm obviously, as you guys can tell, I don't have a script in front of me. I'm not reading a teleprompter. I'm just speaking to the points here because this is what I do. I've developed this expertise. But I didn't have it at first. I was terrified of public speaking, but I thought, if I'm going to make a major difference in the world, I have to learn to communicate because I sucked at that. I wasn't good at communicating with people. And I was, frankly, often too terrified to say what I wanted in life and too terrified to talk to groups. And then I had to start learning how to do that. My mindset was, that's a skill. I'm going to honor the difficulty of developing that skill. I immediately thought, well, video, especially, video is not for me. I see all these guys doing video. I'm not an entertainer. I'm not famous. Video, my immediate thing was to discount video. I probably discounted video for almost a year too much. Even though I was one of the very early pioneers in online courses, literally doing $1 million online courses back in 2000, I think 8 and 9. Back in. Not that that was that long ago, but in the online course, remember in 2007, 8, 9, video wasn't streaming so good. It was tough. Even some of you watching around the world, your connection isn't so great. So back then it was really bad. Not a lot of people were doing online courses, but I thought, I'm not an online guy. I'm not an online trainer. But I heard myself say that, this immediate judgment from my immediate intuition, my immediate contemplation said, nah. Could you imagine if I didn't develop a routine and honor the struggle to get better at video? You and I wouldn't be here right now. It's vital these are practices. And I also honored the fact that I wasn't going to be short-term in my thinking. I had to think about, okay, even though I really just wanted to write books and do seminars, I had to think a bigger picture and thought, where's the world going? Short-term, yeah, I could keep doing these live events, but then I'm going to be on the road all the time. Too much. And I had to change my whole business model to incorporate online aspects. Short-term thinking was do what everybody else is doing in marketing. Longer-term thinking was thinking everything is going to digital. People need to be able to watch stuff on phones and iPads and computers. I mean, the game had changed so significantly, I had to look beyond it. And because so many people are only looking at their day or their week or their month, and they're running practices in their life that allow them to be so overwhelmed from that they can't possibly look to a bigger future, that lack of looking to the bigger future left them destroyed in the economy, left them left behind. I got some people who were tremendously, truthfully, they were better trainers than me. They were phenomenal on stage, but they never started learning online marketing, the new ways of marketing, and they got left behind. And I'm here because I had a bigger future, a bigger vision for myself, and I thought I need to be able to reach people around the globe. I need to get out of my comforts of what I like to do here, and I need to start tooling up and developing the skills for the long-term vision of my life. Let me say that again. I had to learn to skill up, to develop the strategies, the tools, the learning for the long-term vision of my life. And so if you've been in a place in your life, and it's okay, but if you've been in a place in your life where you're just dealing with this, what's right in front of you, and your whole vision has been stuck in the frame of yesterday and only today, only this year, then what I invite you to do is start thinking much bigger, to bring back that ambition in your life to say, where am I going? What do I desire? What am I going to be about? What's the next level for me? We'll help you develop some clarity in this course for this, but I'm sharing with you most of your problems in your life right now are because of short-term thinking or short-term action. And if you can accept that truth, you're going to hit high performance much faster. Fourth, I want you to realize everything in high performance is ultimately about getting you into flow. And if you haven't studied a lot of the work in psychology on flow, which was really pioneered by Marty Seligman and Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, really great theorists and academics and good guys, you realize that flow is vital. And everyone talks about it differently. Now, flow might be one word in psychology, where we just feel like, kind of we're in the moment, we're fully connected and present with it. Time seems to slide by. We're enjoying it and getting fulfillment from it, even though we're challenged by it. And we're just in the state of being where everything seems to go together. In sports psychology, we often call it getting into the zone, right? In spirituality, we talk about living in full awareness or presence. In a lot of the previous spiritual texts, they called it awakening, enlightenment, consciousness. All these things basically come back to this idea that we need to get into a rhythm of being fully connected and being our best selves. And that's going to require a lot of work. And everything is about getting you into that high performance state or being, if you will. So everything I'm going to do is trying to optimize your mind for that, your body for that, how you manage your day for that, your relationships for that. So it just supports this overall, it becomes natural. I'm not trying right now. This is just what I do. This is how I talk. This is who I am. I'm just in a state of flow and teaching right now. I don't have any notes in front of me other than what you see right here. I can do that because of these other points that I've learned how to honor that struggle and to try and to do it. And very few people in the world can do that without a prompter, without any notes. I live this stuff. I'm constantly in the flow of high performance, and I want to help you get there. And so I want you to start doing something silly. I just want you to start at a conscious awareness, thinking on a daily basis, like, how often did I seem like I was really in my best presence, or in the zone, or was I awake, or was I vital, or energized and present throughout the day? Whatever it is for you, I'm going to refer to it often as presence, awakened, or flow. In that place where, again, the joy and the confidence is flowing for you. It's just like your best natural place where things are really vibing. I want you to start measuring that again. People don't think about that anymore. They think about getting through the day. And they're not asking, like, do I feel on a continual basis, like today, did my best self show up sometime today? I just want you to ask that every day. I want to put it on the front of your conscious mind, just like, hey, is my best self showing up? Did I get in the groove today? Was I in the zone at any point during the day? And that zone can be with your kids, where you just feel like, man, I'm an awesome dad right now, you know? Or maybe it's at work and you felt like that meeting just crushed it and you were just winning. You know, whatever the metaphor is for you, I want you to bring that conscious awareness and start giving yourself that test on a daily basis. You know, was I in flow today? Was I a high performer today? Was I just present and joy? I mean, was I in my zone today? And here's what the major athletes of the world do. They're very attentive to when they're in their zone. In the middle of a game, they'll be like, am I in my zone? Before a game, what do I need to do to get in the zone? After the game, where was I in the zone? Where was I not in the zone? They're analyzing themselves on a consistent basis, and that's what made them phenomenal. For me, I use it as a sort of unconscious question or trigger. We'll talk about a lot of that. So for example, the way I do it is I ask a question. And the way I do it is any time that I'm waiting in line, and that could be waiting in line for some food, that could be waiting in line to get into a building, that could be waiting in line in traffic. I cue myself to ask a question. What level am I right now in terms of my energy and presence? Am I energized? Yes or no? Why? Am I fully present in this moment? Yes or no? Why? I ask myself that all day, consciously and unconsciously, and it's helped me get into this state of high performance where I'm unbelievably energized. And people are like, why are you so energized? I'm like, because I'm constantly asking, am I energized? I'm obsessive about it. And I think obsession about developing greater energy in life can be a great thing for people. They're like, but not this weird energy where they're supplementing for it, where, you know, meaning like, oh, well, I don't feel good energy, so I'm gonna take some marijuana or do some cocaine, you know, or you know what, I'd better go get the 64-ounce Starbucks right now. You know, it's like, no. It's like, if you challenge yourself, it's on the radar of your mind starts evaluating yourself in that way, and your mind sort of unconsciously programs you to start saying, I want the answer to be better. When you ask the question, how energized and present am I? And you ask it several times throughout the day, your mind starts says, you know what, maybe we better hit the gym, you've been tired a lot lately. Or you know what, maybe right now you better bring your full attention to the minute, to the moment, because you've been distracted a lot from your family. It gives you incredible power to ask and to demand that you get everything in your life in some kind of flow again. And I know that will be hard for some of you. Others, you're like, I feel like that a lot. I'm like, great, we'll take it to the next level. For those who are really struggling with that, it's habits, it's disciplines, it's questions, it's all the things we're gonna do in this, but I wanna get you there. That's one of the big promises. I want you to feel high performance living, that state of flow, that state of joy, confidence, presence in the moment, that metaphor of being in the zone. I want you to feel like throughout the day, you're like, man, I was my best today, and you deserve it. So make sure you're measuring it so you have it more often. And then the last part of high performance learning. I love this one so much. I said this on stage one time and someone sent it out on social media and it became a thing, and I was like, oh, this is good. Ambition sucks without a calendar. Ambition sucks without a calendar. What does that mean? It means, look, you can have all the excitement, the energy in the world from my talk with you right now. You could be thinking about a bigger picture of your life. You can be thinking about improving your relationships, your health, your mission, your job, your career, your business. You can have lots of ambition in the world, but ambition without scheduling it to make it happen sucks, because that makes you a dreamer. And look, I want all of us to be big dreamers, but I also want all of us to be big doers, to get the job done. Because you can wander around all your life dreaming that I'm going to be a loving, flowing angel of spirit. And then you're an asshole to somebody. That's not what you are. There's a difference between dreaming it and actually implementing it and doing it. And a lot of the big dreams that people have, a lot of big dreams that they have for their lives, it's not on their calendar. It's not scheduled. And so it's not in reality. It's not in play. And I have all this time. I'm going to double my business this year. Great. Show me the meetings. Show me the calls. Show me the times that you're working on doubling the business this year. Where is it on your calendar that is happening? And they're like, well, I'm just going to try these 4 or 5 things. I'm like, okay, where, when, with who? If we're not putting it on a calendar and sticking to a routine or sticking to habit or creating a schedule, it's not going to happen. It's what happens to everybody at the New Year's resolutions time. They say, I'm going to lose weight this year. They go join a gym with a lot of excitement. They go for several weeks. But we know by science, by that mid-March level, over 70% who newly joined aren't even going again. Why? Because they didn't actually schedule it. They said, I'm going to do it. And they had a lot of early momentum. Early momentum is great. Early momentum without a schedule dies every single time. You understand? The schedule is the thing that props everything up. So when you think about your life, you got to start scheduling real things. You want to improve. People say, Brendan, I just want to be a better wife. I'm like, oh, that is a beautiful thing to want to do. I honor you for that. So how are you going about that? Well, I'm being more attentive. I'm doing everything. I'm like, great. I'm like, do you have your phone on you? They're like, yeah. I said, pull out your calendar. Okay, pull out your calendar. So show me where being a better life is. Being a better wife, where is it? I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, where? Have you scheduled a time to be a better wife? She's like, what? And I'm like, yeah, because if it's not scheduled, it's like, imagine a tennis player saying, I'm going to become a better tennis player. But they don't schedule the sessions with the coach, and they don't show up at them. Will they be a better tennis player? Never. So the better wife needs to actually say, okay, great. Date nights, Friday night. Here it is Friday night. We're going over to Pak, and we're just going to have a great evening together. Awesome. Schedule. That's a real tangible thing. That's going to start happening. Oh, wait, look, 90 days later, the two of you are going to go on a vacation together by yourselves, going to give the kids to mom or the parents or the pound, and and you're gonna change. Great, you're going on vacation together. Great, that's a time to really connect. Oh, great, every night you're going to remind yourself when that person walks through the door, there's a trigger that goes off for you to go to be attentive for a few minutes. Great, that's scheduled. It's real. It's happening. But an ambition without a schedule or a calendar, as I'll often call it throughout here, if it's not on the calendar anywhere, I know, and you do too, it doesn't last. People always complain, well, I'm not motivated. I'm like, you're not motivated because you don't know what you're supposed to be doing. I'm not motivated because you haven't got any momentum towards something. I'm not motivated because there's nothing on the schedule or the calendar that enlivens me to be able to know and see that my life is going to another level. And so please, whatever dreams you have throughout this course, whatever ideas you have to improve your life, do me a favor. Start creating blocks of time on your calendar where that happens for real. We'll talk about project management when we get into the week and the training on productivity, but I really need you to hear this. It's your big dreams, your big goals, that next level of improvement on your life, you got to schedule it. You got to develop a habit or a routine or real blocks of time where that is happening. And I had to learn this. I'm blessed as I'm talking with you now. I've had 4 major best-selling books, 3 of them New York Times bestsellers. I've been blessed to be at #1 on every bookseller chart that is really the major ones. #1 New York Times bestseller, #1 Wall Street Journal bestseller, #1 USA Today, #1 on Barnes & Noble, and I've been #1 on Amazon. Not in my categories, across all books in many of those categories. It's been extraordinary. And I can tell you that would have never happened for me And if I hadn't made a day where I said, you know what, I want to write a book, and then I started blocking time for it, it became real. I want to write a book someday. I would say someday I'm going to do this, you know? And someday is the opposite of a schedule. And so I started saying, okay, well, I'm going to write a book. When? Okay, the first hour of the day. Great, I'm going to work at that. I'm going to start working at that. Or I would say, okay, well, I'm really busy right now, but this week, that's when it's going to happen, these hours. You know, we all have to find our marks to make our dreams come true. And we have to block that time to ensure it happens. And I know some of this for you, or you didn't need this video. Maybe you're like, that's all common sense, Brendan. But I bet there's a major dream of yours that you haven't been given the discipline of schedule to. You haven't been project managing it well enough to actually start moving towards it. We're all like that. So I want to start the session. I'm in honor of the fact that sometimes, you know, this is common sense. But I'm also honoring the fact that sometimes common sense is not common practice. Sometimes we haven't been willing to struggle. Sometimes we've been discounting good ideas that could have taken us to the next level, but we never implemented them. Sometimes we've been thinking so short term, we can't connect with that bigger vision to pull us forward. Sometimes we're just not even in touch with our body, our mind, our spirit in the moment. We're just fighting the day to get through, and we haven't asked, like, am I bringing my best moments here? Am I bringing my best, my full amount of joy or confidence or excellence or attention or presence to the moment? Do I feel awakened and alive during the day? And am I making that happen consistently enough to feel all those great emotions? And am I actually scheduling and sticking to a routine to make something extraordinary happen in my relationships, in my health, in my career, in how I feel on a daily basis? So I hope this is a good first session. It's just about how to learn with me. If you will honor these things, we will finish the 5 weeks as well as the year together at a point where you're like, bam, there's a whole other level. If you honor them in your whole life, everything shifts. So stick with us. We've got a lot to cover. I know I'm going on and on with you, but I need these to sink in. I need you to feel the examples, and I need you to commit to them. If you will commit to learning like this with me, bam, everything happens. If any of these are off the mark, don't blame me. Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed this first session of High Performance Academy. In our next session, we're going to cover the high performance tools, actual tools that you can use in your life no matter what your goal, no matter what your dream, no matter what you want to improve in your life. These are tools that I know if I give them to high performers, everything extends. Even without me telling them what to do, just having these as tools that they know they can use, it's kind of like these are the weapons in their arsenal to improve their life. Once you have the weapons in your arsenal to improve your life, man, all you got to do is pull those weapons out, use them in the daily battles of life to deal with life's challenges, and all of a sudden you become the victor. So I look forward to seeing that next session. Thanks for your tuning in. Please make sure you continue to take notes. Listen to the session several times throughout this training or throughout this year, and always believe that you can reach high performance. We'll see you in the next session.